Hi there, sorry, I was busy looking at a weapon I actually wanted to use. Or rather, an overclock that I wanted to use. Honestly, I actually do kind of like having the minigun and the shard diffractor be back to back because I think they are very analogous weapons to each other. When you look at the two, there's actually really is a lot of weird similarities. Sort of both these like precision, high fire rate, high ammo, heavy weapons with a bit of like a pretty notable focus on heat. Although I guess it's more so, I think the comparison actually was almost more so the minigun and the Drac are incredibly similar. The Drac is basically a heat, actually, they're both the same because they're both heat based as well. The Drac and the minigun have so many similarities, it's actually weird. But I think the minigun and the shard diffractor do as well. We're doing, yeah. Welcome back to Overclock Showcase. If you watched the end of last episode, you would know that I got saddled with Overdrive Booster. Now, if the title to this video reads something like Overdrive Booster is just as bad as I thought, let's say something like that, who knows, it might even be more insulting. Feel free to feel however you want about that. I don't really care. And to be honest, I'm not saying that's where this is going to go. I will just have to see how I feel by the end of this video, by the end of this session, because Overdrive Booster is an overclock that I have a massive bone to pick with. Now, obviously, the overclock that I'm literally making a dedicated video for is Electromagnets for the BAAAA, right? Because I think that is actually the worst overclock in the game. Overdrive Booster, I think it's a bit more personal. And I think it does get more credit than Electromagnets does, because Electromagnets has some apologists. Overdrive Booster seems to actually be popular, and I cannot for the life of me understand why. Now, I will introduce one factor early on, which is the fact that I do think there is a difference. This overclock has a big difference between mouse and keyboard and controller users, because there is a precision aspect to it that makes it extremely punishing if you're just not on target. And also, I just have to assume the activation of it is more awkward on controller as well. You have to press X after you started firing, and overall, working with a controller is just slower. Like, I can imagine on keyboard, you have your finger over the R button, and then you press, you basically press fire and reload at the same time. You can do that on controller, but I think with the way your hands are positioned, it's just, I don't know. Also, if you notice the green stuff in the left, that's probably going to keep happening. Just try and ignore it. Anyway, so Overdrive Booster, it is an unstable overclock for the shard diffractor. It introduces a new mechanic, which is boosting. So I guess the thing I need to make clear immediately is I understand the fact that Overdrive Booster is technically a clean. I understand that what it adds is entirely optional. However, obviously it's hard for me to justify it when I could just take the clean instead that does everything with which you can do everything that Overdrive Booster is meant to do just as well, if not better, and with more ammo to spare. Basically what happens in Overdrive Booster is after you start shooting, when you press reload, you go into overdrive mode or you go into booster mode, where you consume twice the amount of ammo, you can't move, 50% of the ammo left in the clip will be used up if you switch to a different item. As in, it also, by the way, fires until the magazine is empty, by the way. Which means if you switch to a different item, you will still keep some of the ammo that was left in it, but it will cut 50% of that ammo. And what you get from that is 2.5 times area and direct damage. So let's say it's doing 14 damage in this setup, direct and area damage. So that'd be 28 first of all. Plus, I guess 50% of each, which is 7. So 35 damage per second at a discharge rate of 13, which is what's that? 455 damage per second. So yeah, it's pretty high. It can kill Praetorian in 2 seconds. It can kill a lot of other things extremely quickly. However, it always uses up all your fucking ammo and doesn't give you any more. And it also forces it to stop moving, and it's just a wasteful, obnoxious overclock that really doesn't meet any breakpoints that I care for. That kind of does distill my problems down, like distill my problems with it, and I kind of have to say a lot because I doubt that what's going to be put on display is going to illustrate my problems with it. It really comes down to how the weapon feels. Anyway, obviously, Overclock Showcase, I try and show you two builds that are as distinct as possible that I still think work relatively well. Now, I wanted to make an AoE version of this Overclock, until I realised it was completely pointless. It's so overkill that basically you end up using a full magazine no matter what you're attacking. So it can't really be used as an AoE tool because there's no flexibility. Like, a small group of grunts is just like... You can't use it against them because it's just a complete waste. So they're just two like different ways of using it for a single target. One of them relies on the primary weapon, one of them doesn't. This one relies on the primary, even though it doesn't. This one's supposed to be using hydrogen rupturing. I don't know why it's not. The other one isn't using that, so that is corrected. Which means I've actually, to be fair, that means I've been using it without hydrogen rupturing. So this should actually be better than I've experienced recently. So yeah, this is built for basic single target. The reason why the single target one is taking more ammo instead of damage is because if you don't take, and there's another thing. I'll explain the magazine size thing when we get to that tier. But for now, let's just go with the fact you have 50 charge capacity. That's going to be used up every time you attack something, pretty much. So you really only get 9 shots with this. And that goes down to 7 if you don't take ammo. So that's why, basically. You can keep a little bit more than that, depending on the enemy. You can kill certain things quick enough where you don't use up the entire clip. Obviously, some things you don't need to boost for. I understand that. I'm not that dense. I know you can use it without boosting. That might actually be one of my problems with it, by the way. And that's it. I think, and I'll get into it, but I think this is such a simple solution to make this thing like infinitely better. But it would require sort of breaking it open and turning it into something that it's not. Anyway, weak point bonus. That's going to be on both of them. No surprise there. And yeah, like I said, charge speed. You want charge speed. You have a longer recharge after boosting anyway, and magazine size. No, don't take this, please. Trust me, you don't want this. All it does, because obviously it fires until it stops, right? So the bigger the magazine, the longer it's going to want to fire for, the more ammo it's going to use up if you don't cut the beam off, right? And if you do cut the beam off, it's still going to waste 50% of the ammo in the clip. So let's say the Praetorian, which takes roughly 50 ammo to kill, right? You're going to be left with 50. So you try and, like, let's say you really precisely switch to another weapon to stop that ammo from being used up. It still takes 50% of that ammo away anyway, so you lose 25 ammo, as opposed to the pretty much 0 ammo that you lose if you just use up the full smaller clip on the Praetorian, which is all you need to kill it. There's really, do not take the increased magazine size of this. You might be like, oh, you're losing 50 ammo by not taking it. No, you're losing a lot more ammo by taking it, so please don't. Anyway, high intensity heating, obviously, that is not on both of them, by the way. That is not. So it's not actually that obvious. I don't have a super great explanation for why, but I think I'm more comfortable with the one that I have more shots on, being the one that can set things on fire, because this is the one that we also will use on weaker targets as well, by the way. We're not going to be afraid of using this against things like Mac terrors and things like that. Basically, shitty targets. Anyway, hydrogen rupturing just gives it that extra edge, because this is going to be the Dreadnought one, which is not what I envisaged when I originally went about like creating these two builds. Anyway, so I've got Stubby in tier 1, which is not, well, okay, I did want to use Stubby because I wanted to make sure that whatever I used in this tier, on this build, the primary weapon had a more reliable form of electrocution. Technically, as far as I'm aware, the only way to get a longer than base electrocution effect is from microconductor add-on, which is this thing. But then I realized that as amazing as microconductor add-on is, what you're saddled with when you take it are two very physically limiting overclocks. So I just had to settle on lightweight rounds built for electrocution and electric arcs. So this can help us with crowd control and clearing. When it comes to dense groups, you will actually see me using the shard diffractor to finish them off. But we also do have plasma bursters, so they help a lot with that. This thing also comes packaged with our armor breaking. So it's our armor breaking tool, it's our trash clear tool. It also sets enemies up for electrocution. And that is the one thing that I will give Overdrive Booster right off the bat, is that we're dealing with the base length electrocution effect. It's not doesn't last particularly long, but it's long enough for Overdrive Booster to kill your target, because it does do a lot of damage. So that's the bare essentials of this setup. So let's get into it. This is the Dreadnought one. Cave Leech Cluster as well. Let's go. Now, I guess what I need to do immediately is try and draw up some other rationale for why I think this overclock is bad. And as far as I'm concerned, I've already said everything that feeds into that opinion. So it's really just based on whether or not you agree with me. You don't have to. I mean, I think I'm onto something, and I think this genuinely could just be a widespread effect of blindness to efficiency tweaks, which is the clean overclock. It's the only clean overclock in the shard diffractor. I do think there is a chance, I'm not saying this is exactly what's happening, I do think there's a chance that Overdrive Booster has basically just taken over that concept, right, of single target on the shard diffractor, and left efficiency tweaks in the dust, and no one's talking about it or considering it. And I think that's inherently unfair, and means that that's the only way that I can, though, picture myself being objectively correct about this, is the idea that Overdrive Booster, just through sheer sensationalism, just swept efficiency tweaks under the rug. Because I think it's just an obviously better form of single target on the shard diffractor. Efficiency tweaks, that is. Because you're just not limited. It's like just... Obviously, they did implement the fact that you can save ammo by switching to another weapon. It's already like backhanded, you know, because it's like that's not really, shouldn't really have to do it like that. But then they decided it would waste 50% of the ammo that you had like left. And I just can't, I cannot condone that. It's just not, it's kind of out of order. Like, really, you're going to take away like even more ammo, even though you're doubling my ammo consumption by using this? And that's also the thing, it stops you from moving as well, and just goes into overdrive, where it fires so fast and so uncontrollably that if you are not perfectly precise, you're fucked. And I don't even think it's like, if it was, I genuinely think just a few small tweaks would make it strong enough to justify that. I think if it was like 3 times damage, I think we're being like in the clear, right? Even then, not exactly, because I think it still wastes more ammo than it needs to. But I don't. Yeah, obviously there's a skill curve to this overclock, right? You need to learn how to make sure your targets are perfectly lined up before you start boosting, so you don't waste any ammo. But yes, that's true. You can learn how to use this overclock to make it better. I don't think the ends justify the means, though. I don't know. I'm not about it, and I don't plan on coming away with this with a negative outlook. I don't plan on it, but my opinion currently is not a warm one. And I don't think that's necessarily going to change. Anyway, what I can say is I do think taking more ammo leaves you with just about enough to do the things I'm doing right now, which is using it on some sort of non-tanky targets. Because when you take when you use Hazard 5 Plus and you have more enemies, you get more guards. You get things that are going to survive electrocution pretty easily, right? Anyway, here's our first Praetorian. I'm going to wait for the electrocution to refresh. Okay, so how much did we use there? Okay. Well, actually, no, I can't tell because I didn't start on max ammo. The point is I used most of my clip. And even if you, like, don't, you still lose 50% of whatever's left. So the chances that you don't use most of your clip on any target is literally slim to none. And I think it's bullshit. I don't see why Overdrive Booster needs to be an alternate firing mode. That is kind of the core of my criticism. I genuinely would not have had a problem with Overclock if it was just base shard diffractor, but changed to, so I forgot about the cave leeches. It just changed to basically half ammo, but 2.5 times damage. Like, I genuinely think I would not have a problem with it if that's exactly what it was. Anyway. Right, it's time for a little bit of strategy. So we're going to start with this thing, which I'm not going to boost against. Okay. And then there's a barrage infector. Okay, yeah. Now, breeder. Now, breeders are definitely a difficult one because obviously you definitely want to make sure you're hitting that weak point. And when you do, it does go down like a sack of shit. So, there are obvious things about this overclock. It does damage. It's just very unstable. And look, we've already used like quite a bit of ammo. I can tell you, if I was using efficiency tweaks, I would not have used this much by now. And even if I had used a similar amount, I would have not felt as much pressure to be as pinpoint accurate. Holy fucking shit! As pinpoint accurate with my shard diffractor as I do when using this overclock. I just think it's too punishing. Oh my god, did you see those Trijaws just kill themselves? I just think it's too punishing for what the reward is, basically. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to see if I truly feel that way by the end. Like I said, there is like a personal aspect to this overclock. I do just have an issue with it, and I know is like not commonly shared. Because I know it's not that bad. I know that it's not terrible, but it just annoys me. It does. And like I said, with my suggestion, you really would have to sort of take it apart and turn it to something else for me to like it. Because yeah, I can acknowledge that it's doing a lot of damage, but I just still cannot really. It does not serve as justification for it completely grinding you to a halt and just draining all your ammo. Like I said, I would much rather it just be done through sheer just stat changes, rather than a firing mode that consumes ammo. There's a meteorite. Is it a big one? Yes, it's a big one. I had this happen the other day. I actually had a big meteorite the other day. They're so uncommon. They're like... To be fair, I am playing in Season 2, but that doesn't really mean anything for the meteorite. At least it shouldn't. Also, that's going to awake the Dreadnought, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's kind of fucked up, actually. Anyway, alright, well, just have to deal with that. Right, that wasn't great. So I do have these geysers to watch out for, which is a little bit annoying. But still, cool. A meteorite, love a meteorite. Of that event, I'm the best. Alright, I will do this just to show you. Yeah, so that is basically what happens when you use it. That's where the weak point bonus is important. I'm not going to judge the weapon harshly for what just happened there, because it doesn't get through the shield phase particularly well, because first of all, Dreadnought weak points are very potent, and I have given the weapon a weak point bonus. You gotta save it for when the weak point's exposed. You just do. And in that sense, you do actually end up not using much ammo. This is where I think Overdrive Booster does actually have like genuine... I completely understand the use of it, because you literally only end up using like 3 shots, which in the case of Overdrive Booster is 150 ammo. But I think that's still pretty good. I'm going to not use it yet. I want what? This is the most precarious thing about it actually using now. It is fleeting, you know, and it's kind of annoying that you can't really justify using it right now because the fight could go a lot quicker, but you just end up with no ammo after the fight, and that's not really what you want. Anyway, so what I'm going to do immediately after the fight, I'm going to cool down the rock crackers, cool down the meteorite crackers. Are they? Would you call them the rock crackers? I guess you would. But yeah, that's going to be immediately after this. Be on the meteorite business. let's see, we're probably going to run out of ammo from this. Now, obviously, I need to acknowledge the one time where I did use it against the shield. So that is a bit unfair. And obviously, I've used it beforehand for other things. So it's going to take 3 to 4 magazines to do this. I would say less than 4, because obviously you don't need a full magazine for this part. In fact, I'm not actually going to use the shell diffractor anymore against this dreadnought. We're just going to go straight through the shield. I'd rather keep it around to take care of a bigger target that could show up in a pressure wave between the fight and my resupply coming down. Anyway. Right, okay. One down. Actually, I do need to deposit, actually, before I get that resupply. So there you go. We got through that with pretty much no issues. Because I can acknowledge that Overdrive Booster is definitively good at this. But it doesn't change the fact that I am generally someone who doesn't... I'm not a big appreciator of, like, something having quite limited use cases. Just like oh good, this overclock is really good for elimination. It's like, that doesn't thrill me. I kind of want something that's going to be good all the time. And I think plenty of those overclocks exist. I don't think that's a rare thing. So it's not like a greedy thing, because there's a lot of overclocks that are good on every mission type. Anyway. Oh, that's going to be a bitch. Okay. I'll probably connect those rock crackers off screen. Oh, hi. It does kill stuff. You see there though, because obviously I don't think I really actually used up my entire magazine, but it kind of just did. Actually, I guess I must have done it from 0, because the only way for it to use up, I'd have to be left on 1 ammo for it to do that. You know, because even if I was left on 2, it would still keep 1. You know. Anyway, I'm going to connect these rock crackers to. They are called rock crackers, right? Am I not going crazy? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to connect them to the meteorite. There you go. I did it off screen. And this is a good thing to do, because I did just go through like a pressure wave that I didn't actually show because there was nothing to use the shell diffractor for. But what this is something that I will show no matter how many like tanky targets there are, because it will just show you sort of a more normal like circumstance with this build. So I think this is a good thing to do. Well, so yeah, jade boots over there. If you don't know, I don't use jade boots in these videos. It's just too confounding. Also, should have electrocuted that guy before I did that, but because goo bombers are a valid target for our efforts. Now, I should say something about what I just did there, because the main benefit, I think the idea behind Overdrive Booster really is the fact that is how quick it can get shit done, right? As such, you're not getting shit done quickly by sort of dancing around a dreadnought trying to find its weak point, which is why, in some cases, you would be better having more area damage. Now, the only reason I don't is because that shares the tier with ammo. And AoE size wouldn't make a difference. But it's still something worth thinking about. And yeah, obviously it's worth also mentioning my ammo situation and the fact that I'll have even less on the next build. So really, the next build is more of a showcase and me coming to an understanding with a different overclock. That was pretty good. I do like how quick it deals with things, but I like it, but I guess enough place that my problems with it stem from is the fact that I don't inherently value speed. I value efficiency and control. So if I can lock target down, that's just as good as killing it quickly. So things like fear and stun, for me, are just as valuable as killing something in like a second. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not like a hyper-propellant guy either. I do think hyper-pop is better than this, by the way. I think hyper-propellant, you get like 11 shots. and it's extremely reliable. Now, it didn't used to be extremely reliable. It used to fail to kill certain things pretty often. But yeah, I'm actually excited for Hyperpop because I know that when I get to it, I know that the one of the builds will use the fire, where that like used to work but now doesn't, in the sense of you used to be able to use Incendiary Compound on Hyper Propellant and have it deal full damage plus all the damage it deals as heat as well. It was pretty crazy actually. And that meant you could basically you can still one-shot patrol bots with it, but it could do that, but also deal as much damage as it did before, plus all the heat, and that that equated to actually quite a bit more damage. So it was really, really ridiculously strong, and there was like no reason to use it without Incendiary Compound. Now there is, because it actually does half the damage like it's meant to, but I'm still going to use it on in a robot setting, and the other build. That would be like the less good build, right? But I'll still do it because I think it'd be fun to be like, here's the patrol bot one-shotter or something. I think I'll still do that. I'm excited. I think I haven't used Hyperpop in ages. I mean, this series kind of results in me not using certain things for ages. And there's a chance that I'll end up using it for a different video. Like potentially explosive chemical rounds would be one where I might end up using Hyperpop on the secondary. But still, this series has given me a bit of a weird relationship with the game, because it's like I don't get much of an opportunity to just use stuff because I want to. But also, if I were left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't feel that much drive to play. So the series is just a really useful thing, but it has spun my way of playing the game a bit weirdly. Anyway, I'm going to, I think, just wrap this room up, collect those play carts, go find the next dreadnought. See you in a second. Okay, so it turns out one of the other dreadnoughts is actually pretty close in that I could use the room that I used for the previous fight. Obviously, I didn't love the previous room, but I think it's still pretty better than this. Also, look at that, Snare Cube. Anyway, let's just open it. So, twins? I've got a good one, because I think this one you can more definitively do in 3 stages. Like the normal dreadnought kind of always forces 4 stages, right? Hi. Damn. If I hit the weak point, that thing actually would have gone down easily. I would not. A warden is something you can kill with this overclock without using too much ammo, and is worth killing. I think I like wardens a lot as a high priority target. They're like a high priority target with a good amount of health, but quite a vulnerable weak point. So they feel good to take down because they're easy to kill, but they also justify you using your sort of highest damage item, at the same time. Unlike a acid splitter, which is high priority and easy to kill, but it's so easy to kill that you can't really use hyper propellant against it, can you? Anyway, this segment should be fairly straightforward. Actually, I might use 2 Plasma Bursters this time. I'm going to take a resupply during this fight, so that second Plasma Burster was bad. Still. I can't let the electrocution run out. Perfect. Okay. There we go, roughly. I think if I actually hit it 100%, of my burst with Overdrive Booster, I think it would have done it. I think it would have gone to grey. So that's kind of on me a little bit. Ow. Don't do that. See? Told you. Isn't gonna work. Okay, that's fine. I kind of knowingly took the hit there. There wasn't really a safe way to get this resupply because of where it is. It's right in the middle of the fight. So I kind of needed the invulnerability. Actually, was I overdriving for... Actually, I'm not sure. I think I failed. I wanted to boost against those guys, but I think I didn't. So well done, me. Yeah, so yeah, so as you can see, this has even less health than the previous stages. So it should be a wash, really. Which is a little bit of ammo to spare as well. With 13, which means it probably put 7 back into the weapon. Yeah, anyway. Well, maybe. I'm not sure if it rounds up or down, basically. But yeah. It's good at this. And it's good at hand. If you're okay with the fact that you kind of don't have, like, that many shots with your shard diffractor, I do think this is a reasonable build. Just being like, you have just a pocket thing that can take out heavy targets pretty damn easily. I would still prefer I think I would prefer to go to hyper propellant, I think, but shard diffractor does give you the flexibility of having something that can sort of take out weaker enemies as well. But your primary should be able to do that, and doing that with your shard diffractor means you're only using up more ammo on it that you might want for heavier targets. I'm not saying it's bad to have the flexibility. I'm just saying it's just another way to sort of lose ammo though as well, like what I'm doing right now. Because like it is useful to have, and I have a primary that is like not great at killing groups of enemies quickly, so I don't mind doing it too much. Yeah, I think this build does have. I think it, maybe I will have a fairly positive conclusion to this. I don't know. It's possible. I didn't go into this intending to hate the overclock. I went into this thinking I hated it, and realizing that it's probably just fine. I think one of the things I've always kind of not loved about it is, like I said, kind of the way it kind of rules the shard diffractor. I think people overlook a lot of what the shard diffractor has to offer because of this overclock. I think that includes class creep catalyst and feedback loop, honestly, which I think is actually a pretty good AoE overclock that gets overlooked pretty often. My nitro situation isn't great. I would like to use some more turret ammo before resupplying though, because I'm desperately autistic about that kind of thing. But don't have the nitro for a second resupply. Okay, Brood Nexus, perfect target. Hi. Fuck. Back. Whoa. Oh, nice. Okay, that was worth it. I think that's worth the ammo. Killing that before I even got to shoot. Barrage infectors are deadly. Okay, I've bitten off more than I can chew here. God, what the hell? Why are there so many Brood Nexuses? Or Brood Nexi? I don't know. Damn it, that's a complete miss on my power attack. I need to bring them back through the pillbox. And I need to kill that breeder. Whilst you're doing the Lord's work. Actually, I'm going to test to see how this thing does against the breeder without the weak point. Right. not great, which is fine because it has a weak point that you should be hitting. The weak point is how you take down a breeder. I did see a warden along here, which is annoying because it's probably going to summon shit. Hey, buddy. Alright, there's all my child diffractor ammo. Okay, just the one resupply as well. Only one cartridge. Let's take it.
Ready to kill some more crates.
Sometimes I've got to, gotta hydrate. Important. This has been a more cumbersome mission than I was expecting. 28, yeah. Yeah. Oh well, I don't feel like I've suffered because of Overdrive Booster. If anything, it's actually been quite helpful. Especially against that Broodnik. No. The Barrage Infector is what it was most useful against in that room. That was actually pretty definitively useful. Anyway. Right, I need to sort out my Nitro problem. I'm guessing that these guys are also still killing sort of Glyphid spawn that are showing up from time to time.
Found you, you greasy meat. Gotta wait for the Rachel.
Where's the Nitro? There's some Nitro. I need 30. Okay, we've got 30. Good. That Nitro there. Gold. Okay. Also, I do know that I think actually this might change because this is from the information about the site is from a pretty old Lazy Maybe video, but I think you can overheat Nemesis with Overdrive Booster, which is stupid because it's just a waste. You have to take increased damage as well to do that, and like an entire magazine. I think you need 100 magazine and increased damage. It's so not how you should build because you shouldn't be building to account for Nemesis, you know? Not the rarest enemy in the game. Technically, I think the Rockbox Breeder is rarer than Nemesis, but pretty close. Pretty close. Also, this environment is bad for fighting Dreadnoughts. Really bad, actually. I'm not even way down on this. No, we need to go over there. And I've got an annoying ammo disparity because I don't. Is it weird to be annoyed by that, or is it just like? Because I assume it's less common to be annoyed by it than it is to be annoyed by it. Normal Dreadnought. I could have gone. I wouldn't have minded the twins actually, which is weird. I usually prefer not to fight twins. I guess this guy also just does represent a way for me to just use up a shitload of stubby ammo. Okay, I think that's a pretty fair thing to do. Actually, my turrets still have a disproportionate amount of ammo, and they're going to use that ammo on the Dreadnought's face. They can't damage. Right, that's better. Good. That's cheeky. How often does Dreadnought block its own, like block its ass on such a small bit of terrain?
Getting supply. I was born ready. The water's potato. No, the players are recharging.
Excuse me, sir. Sir? Sir? Excuse me. There we go.
Watch out! Hot plasma. Reloading.
Go straight through that shit. And I'm leaving. I'm fucking leaving!
Activate the transponder and the mule will send in an extraction pod to pick you up.
I'm in my life right now.
Drop pod en route. Hang in there.
Never been better.
Secondary objective completed.
So that was definitely not a negative experience. Impressed would not be the word I'd use, but disappointed would also. Well, actually,
Drop pod has arrived.
it did. It exceeded my expectations without impressing me, which I guess is easy when your expectations are low.
One platform ready to use.
I mean, in explaining the stuff I don't like about it, I've also explained what this thing is good for, which is just taking out tanky high priority targets quickly. But I still think it's a little bit too fleeting to do that role, really, because it performs that role fairly well, but with a bit of accuracy, kind of like an essential. It makes accuracy an essential component of that. I know that hyperpropellant is punishing in the sense that you can miss, and that's an entire shot just wasted down the drain. But I would probably prefer that to being locked into potentially wasting a lot of ammo. In the way that Overdrive Booster can like cause. Anyway, I kind of want the suppressor to behave normally and start like do that. Because another thing is hats, because oftentimes I find oppressors are the thing that overturn your like single target killing like weapon. I feel like that happens quite often. And Overdrive Booster, aka really the shard factor, it handles oppressors very well. I don't know why exactly. It just feels like it just does a better job than other things do. Oh yeah. I didn't think I'd already used up. Okay, I might have put myself in danger by going into this room. I just wanted to check it out. Is that another barrage infector? It is, isn't it? It is. It bloody well is. It's also got to get through this dirt wall. I can handle it. I'll be alright. I will probably not be alright. Well, apparently Bosco's done digging. Okay. Good.
Plasma grenade.
Alright, last Praetorian of the mission. Nice. I also left with about 16 ammo after killing that. So that's pretty good. You can do about, 30, less than 40 ammo. Which is not the case without Overdrive Booster. I can acknowledge that. Okay. That took a while. We're at 45 minutes. I will not have a problem making the next mission shorter. Don't know what it's going to be yet. Because obviously the build, I'll explain the build as well. I think I'll try and choose the mission before. and then explain it. Yeah, level 302 on the Season 2 Performance Pass. With play cards. That doesn't even... That just looks wrong. It's just... Anyway. I don't know if I'd want to do a salvage op. Actually... We've all got here. Okay, yeah, you know what? It's, actually. Hold on. Not thrilled about going to the magma core necessarily, but I think it's the right thing to do. So yeah, the other build is a self-reliant shard diffractor to be used when you really need it, because we have less ammo than the previous build. So let me explain it. So we got damage and weak point bonus. So yes, you still want to be trying to go for weak points, but that's just only because really AoE radius is not doing anything for us. That's kind of what it comes down to. Same principles on the magazine size, except it's even worse if you were to take increased magazine size. Armor breaking, because I believe it helps the direct damage. It should, as far as I know, as far as my understanding of the game goes, it should. Like with a Praetorian or like Shellback, it means you're cracking through the armor. Anyway, yeah, so why am I not using hydrogen rupturing though? Because this is self-reliant. It's not relying on the primary weapon at all. And Dazzler module, what that does is slow down enemies a lot, and therefore makes them a lot easier to hit. It slows them down just as much as electrocution does. It means we don't have to be sort of switching between the weapons to really handle situations so much. I don't know. Even though our primary weapon can, in fact, inflict electrocution. So here is an explosive chemical round smart rifle. Using this has made me realise how good this thing is, because it is pretty ridiculously efficient. I don't know why my prior experiences didn't reflect this, because I don't feel like I've been using it any differently. But I guess it has been more essential, I guess, with how my shard diffractor is constructed. It's been more essential for me to use this thing pretty constantly, and I've noticed that when it's in constant use, it uses less ammo than I thought it would. It's almost like a weird thing where when I've used it simply as a more balanced primary weapon, like the amount of time that I use it for is more balanced with my secondary. Like it's almost been disappointingly ammo hungry. But now that it's it's what I'm using most of the time, I'm finding it more impressive how efficient it actually is. But yeah, building this overclock is pretty simple. You take ammo, you take macro lens because you want it to be tight as possible. You don't want to get locks on extra enemies. Electrochemical rounds or blow through rounds, it's up to you really. Electrochemical rounds can help if you end up sort of going in on a single target. Shutter speed sensor is also obvious. You just want to get those 3 locks as quick as possible. And electric generator mod. Fear is not terribly stupid, but because it does give you more fear, but explosive chemical rounds already adds a fear effect, and electric generator mod, it unlocks so much, especially if you were comboing it, if you were using hydrogen rupturing, but also it just gives it a little bit more of a kick. I think it's the reason why it can. I think it does reach certain breakpoints actually. Maybe the acid splitter, maybe, or maybe I think it can actually. I think it could do acid splitters in one go. I'm not sure. And then shredders, not specifically. Shredders just kind of exist on this loadout slot, but they are useful. They do sort of cover a lot of things. But I think Elite Threat's a good one, because we're just going to use the shard diffractor to just lock down and then just obliterate the chunkiest elite enemies like the Praetorians, grabbers. Are there elite glue bombers? I think they're elite shellbacks. I think there's shellback. Is there? I think I might be blanking on what they can be out of elites, because frankly, things like elite acid splitters, they're not really actually that good for our shard diffractor here, because they do not have enough health to justify what we'll be doing to them if we were to use the shard diffractor against them. So who knows? Maybe it's more. Maybe this isn't actually the most intuitive mutator to pair with this build. But then again, beggars can't be choosers. Although, except I was a chooser. I did choose this. I did. Anyway, Oscar's already found something to kill. Probably is that Praetorian I saw. Or maybe it's just these swarmers who are not going to last very long. Okay. Right. Well, let's make haste. I don't want this video to be stupidly long.
Get to work.
No one wants to watch an hour-and-a-half hit piece on a good overclock.
I made a platform. Lock and load it.
Explosive chemical rounds is very good against tiny enemies because it kills them on the first shot, but still triggers the explosion. You need to get 3 locks on an enemy to trigger the explosion, but it will still trigger the explosion once it stopped firing. Meaning that if the enemy dies in one shot, the explosion will still go off. So it's only one bullet to trigger an explosion that could kill a potentially infinite number of swarmers within its radius. You know? Very good. Actually, I'm not sure if the infinite thing is entirely true. Anyway, let's kill this thing. Ooh, right. I mean, to be fair, I didn't hit the weak point at all. And I think I'm not actually disgusted by using that amount of ammo to just take out what could be a pretty serious problem if I ran into it, like, down there. I'm actually not too, like, annoyed by that, really. No, that's actually okay. Where's the elite Arch Infector go chip? I would love elite stationary enemies. I'd love elite enemies to be sort of actually propped up again. And not an afterthought. Hazard 5 plus, elite enemy frequency. Come on. Let's do it. The time is now. Swarm?
Time to get busy, miners.
Anyway.
Swarm detected.
6th sense. The swarm sense.
Combat positions. The swarm is here.
Frontal fly. Shredders deployed.
Yeah, this is probably not gonna be very difficult, to be honest. I see. That was a full clip, even though we did not need a full clip. That Praetorian had already taken damage, and we have more damage than we did last time. And look at that elite Praetorian. Sack of shit. Just like already dead. Anyway. Oppressor, however. I hardly know her. You saw that, right? The meal completely fucked that up. Insane.
The last of the wave is approaching you now. Keep it together.
Damn players could need an upgrade. Feel my wrath. Reloading.
That was a bit annoying, actually. I didn't get to use the shard fracture in the way I really wanted to. To be fair, having things like shredders means you end up like giving a bit of damage to like damn near everything in a swarm like immediately. Which almost just immediately made my shard fracture more overkill. But the oppressor thing was very annoying. That was entirely on Molly. And that, yeah, that's not ideal. We can blame Molly pathfinding for that one. Molly.
Moscow, find it.
Like Snowing Fate always called it Molly. And I cannot tell if it's intentional or not. Because if you read Mule phonetically, it does say Molly.
If only this bloody bucket was bigger.
So, what if I wanted to kill something like an elite Mactera spawn? Well, frankly, I'm probably not going to be able to do it. This thing is going to be so ridiculously fast. I don't know if I needed a boost to do that. That was really weird. That was so odd. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was strange.
Platforms placed.
Okay, I'm a little bit scared of what's coming my way. I can tell there's stuff coming. So just lock it down.
Think you can kill me? Well, think again. Molly is on the way.
Hello there, sir. We good? Like that. I think. Anyway. Okay, I guess this is where I'm going to resupply because there's a machine event down here.
Help me mine this. Looks like eliminated.
That was terrible. But I guess I'm killing this order. Oh, I'm going to fail to kill this order. I'm going to run away. Well, I'll take that on the chin. I just wasted some ammo there. Whatever. It's been like
Pickaxe sharpen when we get back.
years since I've killed a warder. Actually, I haven't cared about that kind of thing genuinely in years. Which is interesting. It's the kind of thing that you kind of can be excited about changing, like when Roll Call comes around. Like, whoa, a deep rock game? I start from scratch, but not by choice.
Time to restock.
Whoa.
Getting supplies.
Alright, Boss Coke. Let's get some eggs.
Help me.
Actually,
mine
get that one.
Born ready. Purring like a kitten.
Swarm?
That needs assembling.
Ah. Why did he drop it? Don't come and get it. Oh shit.
Platform.
Yeah, I don't really need Overdrive Booster for the Elite Grabber. Elite enemies, they do have a weird frailty to them. It's odd.
Never bring an
I don't dislike it, but it's weird. It's warm. Damn.
light for me, please.
With this build, that's an enemy you don't have to use Overdrive Booster for. With this build specifically. You could use normal Shard Diffractor even. Anyway. Yeah, it's a bit unstable. Like I probably should have used I probably should have not used it against the Goo Bomber.
Mine it.
It's kind of really, honestly, this build's kind of Praetorians and up. I'd say Wardens still justify it though because it's so important. But apart from that,
Reloading.
Praetorians, Oppressors, stationary enemies.
Follow me.
Anyway,
Bosco.
I got Swarm that time. Good. I'm glad. Can't really take a resupply though because I'm autistic.
Go. Get to work.
First world problems.
Contact. Lock and load.
Shredder swarm deployed.
Don't open a crevice here, please. Oh, it didn't. Okay, it's nice. We think we need to... Wow, there's this guy. Gone.
Flares recharging.
Wait, that was it? No. You know, I don't think it's actually technically done.
Incoming. Take care of what is left, then have a breather.
Right. Well, there you go. See, this is the build where my sort of damage-oriented shard diffractor is where I much rather have efficiency tweaks. Like, I love taking efficiency tweaks to increase damage. It feels great because you have plenty of ammo and just basically no limitations. Plenty of ammo, high damage, and just no drawbacks. This, we've got plenty of damage, but we have very little ammo and quite a few other drawbacks. This is the lesser of the two builds. When I was practicing, I always felt like it was the
Bad feeling about this.
I felt like it was the superior, the better of the two, but it's definitely not. I do like the respect it's given me for explosive chemical rounds, though. I think that's a good thing. I know I'm supposed to respect this overclock, and I think I definitely do now.
Maybe we're not gonna die.
I think I have liked it for a while now, because I used to really not understand why explosive chemical rounds were given so much credit. But that's gone. I definitely understand now. Also, I guess it would have been better to get Praetorians for this. That wasn't quite worth the ammo. And it would have done a Praetorian in just the same.
I'm full. Where's Molly?
Like, when your weapon basically has no difference between how much ammo it takes to kill an acid spitter against a Praetorian, it's a problem. Obviously, I didn't need to boost. I understand that, but fuck you. I mean, look. So that's at 24 ammo, which is quite a bit less than what happened. Because with the boost, it's so hard to control. Like, I wouldn't be able to stop myself before I get to that point if I was boosting. At least I definitely would struggle.
Reloading. No players ready. Well-oiled machine.
Okay,
Ready to kill some more.
Nicely done, team.
2 more eggs to get.
Infuser is ready.
I can get the hell out of here. Right. Let's be quick about it, eh? A guard. Yeah, I'll boost for the guard. Why not? Why not? Also, I think the disconnection problem's gone away. It's so weird though. My Xbox basically just randomly, well, not random. It's hard to say random because it happens every day, and it keeps happening, and it's like usually only literally 30-second to a minute gaps between disconnects. And it just drops, and it makes it impossible to play online games. Pretty easy fix is just hard resetting the console by unplugging it for 30 seconds. It usually just gets rid of it for like a couple hours, but it might come back later. It's weird. It's not like completely like destructive, I guess, but it's not great. I don't like it, believe it or not. Oh, okay, so this is really just a mineral path. It's fine. I think that got me enough holomite, but hollow knight. How stupid it looks. Kind of. better. What the hell?
Light it up.
Where is that egg?
Access provided. Platform created.
There.
Go! Get to work!
There we go. There we go.
Platform up! I need the mule right here, right now. Reloading. Meet your maker, Crave!
I'll meet your maker.
Nicely done, team. You secured yourself a nice bonus.
I got the try job! Wait, very
Ah, so the electrocution there is what we needed to kill that acid spitter in one burst. Science. Alright, let's get out of here. It's me.
Escape pod button is activated.
Dreadnought on my back. Reloading!
We're sending in the drop pod. Head for LZ.
Ammo taken. I got it!
Drop pod has arrived. The mule has been called back. Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Base for the first round! Platform! Shredder's out! Platform base. Go, go, go! Wait, platform!
Logger platform gun. Right, I think I might spend the last minute or so just unnecessarily boosting against enemies that really don't need it. Not swarmers though.
Docked. Initiating launch sequence. Drop pod departing in T-minus 4 minutes.
The damn acid spitter! You!
It does kill them really quickly. But those enemies that you can kill quickly with anything. Actually wasn't boosting against that. Oh well, right, let's go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ah, nothing. If you're boosting and you die while boosting, it will just use up all the ammo of the clip. It's just... Don't... Those are kind of... I think those are... Those kind of things are the root of the problems I have with it. Like, it's just... It doesn't feel like the Overclock really respects you, to be honest. Apart from that, it is very strong. And it's got more use cases than just elimination. But I, personally... I can show you how to do better for single target on this weapon. I easily could. In fact, I did, because the previous episode on the shard Diffractor was efficiency tweaks, which is the exact overclock that I normally use for single target on the shard Diffractor. So, but that was that. That was Overdrive Booster. So if you enjoyed this episode of Overclock Showcase, then please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this, and you want to stay on top of everything through Deep Rock and Roll Call, also make sure to click the bell. And thank you, as always, to our wonderful member, Box Fox Scoot. Now, it's time to find out what next week's Overclock is going to be, which is back to the minigun. This is going to be the 4th minigun Overclock of the series. So, if you don't know how this works, basically I take the weapon, take the Overclocks, number them from left to right, top to bottom. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 5, and 8 are out of the picture. Need to be careful there. I showed my emails again. But yeah, 2, 5, and 8. So we've already done Rotary Overdrive. That was the first one, of course. Then Burning Hell and Exhaust Vectoring. Don't really huge preferences here actually. I think I think Bullet Hell could be probably the most fun. And I don't really want Thin Drum Walls, which would be 7. Which is in there. I almost thought it wasn't in there. Can't say I'm super lucky though, because I got number 6, which is an overclock I always forget the name of, which is Compact Feed Mechanism. Which is that weird balanced ammo overclock. Who am I going to give it to out the gate? I don't know. Maybe you. I guess you. Fuck it. Why not? There we go. Also, let's put this back to normal. Normal purple. Where's the normal purple? Okay. Right. Okay. That's that then. It's time to have our customary Overdrive Booster themed drink. Which, I mean...
Classy move, Steam. Now quit it.
Yes, Blackouts now.
Out, please, and dim the lights. This is gonna be a tough one. I always feel bad when I forget to tip you, Lloyd. Cheers, Mike. You're so pretty. Anyone wanna dance?
Bye.